Welcome to Business Book Daily, where we pull one useful idea from one business book and turn it into something you can actually use. Today's book is Management Challenges for the 21st Century by Peter Drucker. Drucker was one of the most influential management thinkers of the 20th century, known for shaping modern ideas about leadership, organizations, knowledge work, and executive effectiveness. Before we get into the book, today's episode is sponsored by commissiononly.com. Want to sell more without adding fixed sales salaries? Many companies hire commission-only reps, experienced sellers who get paid only when they produce. Post your opportunity on commissiononly.com and get in front of motivated reps who are already looking for performance-based roles. That's commissiononly.com. Now back to management challenges for the 21st century. The big idea is simple. Management has to change when the world changes. That sounds obvious, but it is one of the hardest things for organizations to do. Many leaders manage as if the world is more stable than it really is. They assume industries stay clear, employees need close supervision, strategy can last for years, and success comes from improving what already exists. Drucker argues that those assumptions can become dangerous. In a fast-changing economy, leaders have to question what they believe about customers, markets, people, technology, and work itself. Organizations do not fail only because they execute poorly. Sometimes they fail because they execute old assumptions beautifully after the world has moved on. That is a very expensive way to be organized. Management Challenges for the 21st Century argues that leaders must stop relying on yesterday's rules and start building organizations that can learn, adapt, focus on results, and help people do their best work. The first lesson is that old management assumptions can become traps. Every organization runs on assumptions. You have assumptions about your market, assumptions about your customers, assumptions about your competitors, assumptions about your workforce, assumptions about what your company is good at and why people buy from you. Some of those assumptions may be true. Some may have been true 5 years ago. Some may be sitting in the conference room wearing a name tag that says strategy, even though they expired a long time ago. That is why leaders need to regularly ask which beliefs still match reality. Are customers buying for the same reasons they used to buy? Are competitors still the same competitors? Is the business model still strong? Are employees working in the same way? Is the company solving the right problem? A business can be disciplined, hardworking, and deeply committed, and still head in the wrong direction if the assumptions underneath the work are no longer true. The second lesson is that knowledge workers need different management. Knowledge workers are people whose main value comes from what they know, decide, create, analyze, solve, or improve. They are not managed well through close control. In many cases, they know more about their work than their managers do. That means the manager's job is not to hover over every detail. The job is to make the goal clear, provide useful information, give people the right tools, and hold them accountable for results. That is a very different kind of management. It is less about watching people work and more about making sure the work matters. A knowledge worker needs to understand what success looks like, what decisions they own, where they can contribute most, and how their work connects to the organization's results. Without that clarity, smart people can stay very busy doing work that does not move the business forward. The third lesson is that change must become a discipline. Change is not something leaders should treat as a rare emergency. Strong organizations make change part of normal management. They look for opportunities. They stop doing work that no longer creates value. They test new ideas before the market forces them to react. This matters because most companies do not struggle with change because they lack slogans about change. They struggle because they have no routine for it. They wait until the problem is obvious, loud, and expensive. By then, change is harder, scarier, and usually comes with a consultant using too many slides. Drucker's point is more practical. Build the habit earlier. Keep asking what should be improved, what should be stopped, and what should be tested next. The fourth lesson is that information should drive decisions, not just reports. Many companies collect data without turning it into better judgment. They have dashboards, reports, charts, updates, summaries, and meetings about the summaries. But the goal is not more reporting. The goal is better action. Useful information helps people make decisions about customers, performance, costs, opportunities, and risk. That means leaders should ask whether the information they collect actually changes what people do. Does it help the team spot problems earlier? Does it help people understand customers better? Does it reveal where money is being wasted? Does it show which opportunities are worth pursuing? If not, the company may not have an information system. It may just have a very organized way of creating reading assignments. The fifth lesson is that managing oneself is part of leadership. This is one of Drucker's most useful ideas. People need to understand how they work best, what they are good at, where they belong, and how they create value. That matters even more in knowledge work, where careers last longer and people have to take more responsibility for their own contribution. A person who understands their strengths can make better choices. A leader who understands their own working style can communicate more clearly, choose better roles, and avoid forcing everyone else to operate exactly the same way. Managing yourself is not self-help fluff. It is a business skill. The better people understand how they create value, the easier it is to put them where they can do their best work. So how do you apply this? Start by listing the assumptions your company is operating on. Include assumptions about your customers, market, pricing, competitors, employees, and growth strategy. Then ask which ones are still supported by evidence. Next, review how you manage knowledge workers. Replace vague supervision with clear outcomes. Make sure people know what success looks like, what decisions they own, and how their work connects to business results. Then build a simple change habit. Each quarter, identify one activity to improve, one activity to stop, and one opportunity to test. This keeps change practical instead of overwhelming. Finally, help people manage themselves better. Encourage employees and leaders to understand their strengths, preferred work styles, and best contribution. The more clearly people understand how they create value, the easier it is to put them where they can do their best work. Here are 3 insights worth sharing. First, the most dangerous management mistake is not poor execution. It is executing perfectly against assumptions that are no longer true. Second, knowledge workers do not need tighter control. They need clear goals, useful information, strong tools, and accountability for results. Third, change gets easier when it becomes a discipline. Strong organizations regularly decide what to improve, what to stop, and what to test next. Management Challenges for the 21st Century is worth reading if you lead a company, team, or department and want a sharper way to think about management in a changing world. It is also useful if you want to understand knowledge work, organizational change, and strategy through one of the most important management thinkers in business history. You might skip it if you want a tactical management checklist instead of a broader book about how management itself must change. Today's closing sponsor is memoirghostwriting.com. Many of the best business books begin as ideas leaders have been refining for years, frameworks, philosophies, and lessons learned the hard way. Writing the book forces those ideas into clear form, and once they're on the page, they can travel far beyond a single conversation or presentation. At memoirghostwriting.com, we write memoirs and business books for entrepreneurs, founders, executives, and industry experts. We handle the interviews, structure, writing, editing, design, and publishing, so the final product is polished, professional, and built around your voice. If you've ever thought about what a business book could do for your authority, speaking, consulting, lead generation, or legacy, visit memoirghostwriting.com. That's it for today's Business Book Daily. One book, one useful idea, and one smarter way to build.